Apologies that we are slightly delayed. Obviously, we do the Wrestling Escape podcast, and that just slightly overran. There was a few technical difficulties over there that we were battling with, and kind of getting stuck into a few different conversations. So it did mean that we was a little bit delayed, but we're here now, and I hope everyone is well. NXT this week is looking very good. I was just talking about it on the Wrestling Escape pods, that this lineup tonight actually has got a lot going for it. So we are going to be seeing tonight quite a few storylines kind of really progressing forwards. We've got Stacks against Joe Coffey. And obviously, if Joe Coffey wins, then Tony is getting sent down. If Stacks wins, then Tony is going to be released. So obviously that's been rumbling along for a little while. Chase U against Gulak and Dempsey. Obviously Andre Chase has been away for a while, and he's come back. Obviously there was a lot of disrespect towards Thea Hale, and Mr. Chase came back. So it's going to be Mr. Chase. It's going to be Duke Hudson taking on Gulak and Dempsey. So should get some movement there as well. We're finally getting the debut of Nima and Price. So they're going to debut this week. They're not going to do anything massive. You know, I'd imagine they'll put them against some low-level talent just to kind of get them over. But those have been teased. Their arrival has been teased for a little while, so we're seeing them tonight. Braun and Elia, I'm in the dark on this because I was under the impression we were getting Braun and Elia, but it hasn't featured as part of the official lineup. So I don't know if we are getting that or not, but that's one that's potentially on its way. As well as that, Judgment Day. Judgment Day are going to be here. They are obviously going to be addressing Carmelo Hayes, who's had plenty to say about this situation. So we are going to be seeing Judgment Day. We've got Tiffany against Ivy Nile. Ivy Nile finds herself on her own right now, which is very interesting because obviously normally she would be with the Creeds. She's not with the Creeds because the Creeds obviously lost their positions, lost their places in NXT, losing that match to the Dyad. So Ivy Nile is all by herself. So Tiffany against Ivy Nile, we got that tonight as well. We've also got Cora Jade against Kalani Jordan. Really like Kalani Jordan. I think she's going to be one for the future. She looked good in her match last week. She is going to be taking on Cora Jade. So loads going on with NXT. NXT in a really good place at the moment. We've been watching and enjoying NXT for quite a number of weeks. I mean, we've been watching NXT for a long time, but I don't know. I feel like, say, the past couple of months in particular, things have just gone from like strength to strength. So it does feel like we are in a really good place right now with NXT, and hopefully we get another good episode tonight. Right, Daze, I like Judgment Day, but I think we are overexposing them, said Big Time Baxter. On Raw, they are all over the show. Do you feel the same, or is more better? I feel that we're overexposing them. I think that when I was doing the review last night, like I was doing had all my notes and everything, and it was just like they were just absolutely all over the first part of that show. All over the first part of that show, and it was just too much too soon. I mean, we had Finn open the show in the ring, then you had Rhea and Dom come out, you had Finn walk away, you had Seth come out, setting up the match between Seth and Dom later in the show. Then backstage, Damian Priest spoke about how this isn't his fault and they'll deal with the situation. Finn speaking, then saying that he wants Seth first. Damian saying, well, you can have him either way. It's coming, saying like, I'm going to cash in at some point, whether you're champ or not. Then we went to the match that had like all of this, as we said at the time, is in the first 50 odd minutes. Then we go to Dominic versus Seth, which you would imagine that match would be later in the show. But it was like, it was the second match. It was just after Drew and Riddle against Imperium. So then we go to that. That then doesn't even happen and then sets up the main event, which is going to include Judgment Day. And it's just, it went, and then like you've got Rhea confronting Liv and Raquel. backstage. Like there was just, and they confronted, don't forget, Rhea confronted Sammy and Kevin as well to let them know she was coming for them belts. Like all over the show, or to the point where it actually felt like something you wouldn't book that way. It felt more like that maybe some segments, there was some last minute illness, some segments had to drop out, they had to kill a little bit of time. They decided they were going to, like, use Judgment Day a bit more than was originally planned. I was saying last night during the watch long, it had that feeling of when the talent is stuck because of travel issues. We've had a few Raws in the past where the roster hasn't been able to get there because they might have worked a certain town and then their planes have been delayed, which means they can't get to where Raw's going to be. And so it means that we have to just get talent from wherever, and maybe we use a bit of NXT talent, and people that weren't at those shows get given a couple of segments. And we have to really just patch it up, and we have to really find a way of just getting through the show and just coming out with something entertaining. We've done that a few times in the past, and this just had a little feel of that, because they were all over this consistently, and to the point where it was becoming a bit too much. I would say too much. I mean, I think with SmackDown and the Bloodline, you can open with the Bloodline, close with the Bloodline, and then you can go backstage to Roman's dressing room or do something with Usos and Sammy like a couple of times. But it's all nicely spaced out. It's all nicely spaced out across the 2 hours. This was all at the start of the show. And then there was other stuff that followed after that, like as we went into the other hours as well. So, yeah, I would say that this was too much. I think that it's good to have Judgment Day front and center. The other thing, though, is that with Finn and Damian making up at the end of Raw, I don't think that's it, right? I don't think they're friends and everything's going to be amazing now. But that does feel a little bit like they've given us a bit too much there, in the sense of, I think one of the interesting things with Judgment Day is, are they going to turn on each other? Is Finn going to snap? Who's going to turn? Who's going to leave? Is Damian leaving? Is Finn leaving? Are we what's happening with JD McDonough? Like, that's one of the big questions at the moment. And I think to end the episode with them embracing and them hugging and everything looking great kind of takes all of that away now, because you could look at that and say, well, everything's fine now. They're on the same page. They're I'm sure it won't stay that way, but I just think that went a bit too far. Like, I think we could have just had a little nod to say, respect. We just won that match. Okay, we can work together, but it's still not resolved, I think the embrace and them standing together as a united Judgment Day just sort of felt like we took away a lot of the intrigue in that moment. A lot of what was making Judgment Day so intriguing, and a lot of that kind of drama about, are they going to split, just got removed. So, I don't know. Raw, to me, last night was okay. I was said it was about a 6. I would go down rather than up. I don't think it was a bad show, but I think that compared to some of the recent offerings from WWE, it was certainly one of their weaker shows. How have you been? Hello, Alfie. I hope you're well, dudes. Shout out to you. I'm good, thank you. I hope the job's going well. I know you've been off doing work, so I hope everything's going well. Tommy said, I love the chill vibes in the streams. It's a healthy distraction from chronic anxiety. Tommy, shout out to you, my friend. Shout out to you. UFC gets a late bout edition for this weekend's card. Jack Della is going to be in action, says Tim. Amin, shout out to you. Trini says, seems I'm a bit tipsy. I went to the cricket. Oh, Trini. I mean, if you're ever going to get tipsy, that's the greatest reason to go to the cricket and have a few drinks. I am so hooked by cricket at the moment. I mean, I love cricket anyway, and I love watching England, but the Ashes are so good, so interesting. our Prime Minister met the Australian Prime Minister, and they were having a bit of banter about the cricket at the moment. So it's just kind of bubbling away at the moment, and it's just good. It's in a really good place. It's been on the front pages a couple of times as well, about like the cricket, and it's just good. Certainly with no football being around, like sometimes when the football ends, you can be a bit like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do now. Obviously, we've got wrestling all the time, but it's always good to just follow something different, to have a bit of a change, you know? This is why I love doing the football channel, because, and as I said on that channel many times, it's just nice to sit down and not talk about Roman Reigns, and not talk about Bloodline, and not talk about Judgment Day, because we do it all day, every day. It's nice to have that break. And so, yeah, I like to have something else to kind of, I suppose, switch my mind away from that stuff. And normally it'd be like Man United. I do like watching Man United, follow them. But at the moment, cricket is providing that for me, and I'm really enjoying it. So, yeah, that's exciting. I hope you had a good day. Tim said that card has gone from trash to slightly less trash. Amin said, are you streaming Blood and Guts next Wednesday? Yeah, we do it. We do Dynamite on a Wednesday. Daze, looking at the Raw roster on Wikipedia, it looks bleak as far as depth. Perhaps that's why Judgment Day is getting so much TV time. Shouldn't be. I mean, I think if you are, you know, they did the draft the way they wanted to do the draft. So if that Raw roster is bleak, it's their fault, first of all. But second of all, you need to build stars. You need to have creative stories. Like, good stories can be told by lots of different people. They've got plenty of talent that they can use at their disposal on Raw. They just need to be telling some good stories. And I think there's just a lack of that. They're just really leaning on the Judgment Day story, which, as I said, kind of felt like it got wrapped up a little bit last night with the embrace and everything. I mean, I don't know really what people are going to tune in next week for, because there's no drama there now, seemingly. So, I don't know. It felt a little bit like a bit of an own goal. Didn't feel like the greatest of episodes, as we said, but it wasn't a disaster. It wasn't like we were watching it and we were like really down on it either. It wasn't like there was loads of really bad stuff, loads of matches that were rubbish or all this kind of stuff. But I've said before, I think you have to be honest when you're doing this, because if I'm going to say something's really good, that's going to carry no weight whatsoever if every show I say is really good, right? If I say everything's good, then nothing's good, is it, right? So you have to have the ability to take that step back and go, do you know what? That show wasn't as good. It wasn't as good. And that was just my feeling about Raw last night. So we move on. We see what NXT can provide us tonight. I know there were people that did enjoy Raw last night very much, which is great. And we move on to NXT and see if we can follow up on what was a great episode last week with, as we said, you know, a really good NXT Underground match. Really interesting loser leaves NXT match as well. Didn't expect the Creeds to go, but they did. And there was a few little twists and turns last week, which I thought made for a very good NXT episode. So hopefully we get another one of those tonight. We Raw down, SmackDown. Right, let's try and get the chat up here. There we go. Daze, what are you expecting for Man U in this window? Said Jordan. Well, I'm expecting us to get a striker, probably that Hodgland or however you pronounce his name. I'm expecting us to sign Onana. Of course, we need to get that deal over the line. And then potentially another midfielder. Now, I don't know if we get anything beyond that. I do feel like we could do with, like, you know, a right back. I feel like another centre back. I think then I would probably be happy then. I'd probably be happy with a right back, centre back. But that's, you know, I mean, that means we're going to need to have bought, say, 6-7 players this summer. And seemingly we just don't have the budget for that. So, yeah, I think Mount, Onana, a striker, and then potentially another midfielder would make 4. And that I think is what we'll end up doing. People's Wrestling Channel, shout out to you. Said I met you in London at Wrestling Store. Shout out to you, People's Wrestling Channel. Thank you for coming down. Hope you had a great time. Hope you had a great weekend. And yeah, it was brilliant. I absolutely loved doing Wrestling Shop. It was a real pleasure for me to meet people. And the message was received very loud and clear that need to get some more toy hunts on the channel. That is very much in my thinking. As I said, after Wrestling Shop, I actually came back and I was like, I need to go to Florida. And I know, like, that sounds a bit weird. It sounds like, right, I need a holiday. It's not that. It's because Florida is the best place I've ever been to for toy hunting. Because here, the only places you can really go are the Entertainer or Smith's. They're the only places you can really go. And to be honest, Smith's is planogrammed. And so every Smith store you go to is pretty much going to be the same. You're not going to go to a Smith store and find different figures. It's the same figures in the same shops. So if you've done one Smith's, you've done them all, really. Whereas with Walmarts and Targets, I believe they're planogrammed, but for some reason, just kept finding different things in different shops. And of course, it's America. You know, they have exclusives that we don't have here. They also, you know, they've been, those stores have been around since well before Mattel started making figures. So it means they've had every figure pass through their doors at some point. So you just never know what you're going to find. And then you've got, you know, I was talking to Triple T about it, and he said about going to Savers. Have a look, see if they've got Savers in Florida. And I just need to find places like that, basically. So my plan is next year to go and do that. Obviously, I'm not going to wait till next year. I will do some toy hunts this year in England as well. But yeah, I'm going to bring more of that to the channel. But I can't do that every day, of course. So what I'm looking to do is obviously the streams and then those 2-minute videos. And those 2-minute videos, really enjoy doing. I think there's lots of opportunity with them as well. I've already done SummerSlam 88, as I said yesterday. SummerSlam 89's on the way. And I'm just going to keep working through them. So we're going to do the weekly shows, going to do like the old pay-per-views. Obviously, we've been doing like wrestlers by year in 2-minute videos. I'm really into this 2-minute video thing. So I'm kind of getting my teeth into that. And at the moment, it's all still quite new. But I think once we've got like a bit of a, you know, a good chunk of videos, then I think we've got some options of things we can do with them. So, you know, I could put all the Raws of 2020 together. I could put all the SmackDowns of 2020 together. I can tell you, here's everything that happened in January of 2020. Here's everything that happened in January of 2021. If you want to, you know, bring your knowledge up to speed. I think there's a lot of scope for potential and growth. And so, yeah, there's a lot going on at the moment, but it's quite exciting. So a big thank you to everyone that's kind of been watching those videos and supporting them, leaving likes and everything. It really, really does make a difference, and it really is appreciated because those videos, obviously, they're brand new. I mean, people just don't give them a chance at the moment. So anyone that has and has watched them and left comments and likes and everything, as I said, really appreciated because they are going to be, hopefully, you know, a decent part of the channel going forward, along with the watch-alongs and toy hunts coming back as well. I'll say coming back, just they never really went away, but I'll try and do them more regular. Let's put it that way. Adam said, Daze, I'm surprised that Margot Robbie was about to pay for her meal at a restaurant in London during production of her movie Barbie when she got a surprise that 16-time world champion John Cena paid for it. I haven't seen that. Tim said, UFC's Kevin Lee announces retirement after first round smashing loss in UFC return. What, Kevin Lee's announced his retirement? Is that true? Kevin Lee announces retirement. Oh, yeah. Not 100% official, but it looks like Kevin Lee is seriously considering retirement after his latest brutal loss. Interesting. Tim, shout out to you. Breaking news, Formula One. Daniel Ricciardo is back in Formula One. The Australian is replacing Alpha Turin's Nick de Vries for the rest of the season. Sphere said Daze, Roman and the Bloodline drew 3 million on their segment. Do you think this is one of the best storylines in wrestling? Yes. I've always thought that it was one of the best storylines in wrestling, to be honest. It was brilliant. It was it's been a great story for a long, long time. And I didn't need like the latest ratings to feel that way. I think with Sammy last year and Montreal and what happened at the Rumble, you know, all of that was like, yeah, this is brilliant. That's when I was like, this is one of the best. I think impact on the business, you could make the argument that Stone Cold was and Mr. McMahon was bigger. I mean, the ratings were bigger, but it was a different time. You know, if we were to do Stone Cold McMahon exactly the same, everything in this era wouldn't get the ratings it got back then. I feel very comfortable, confident in saying that, because it's got harder and harder and harder to get ratings because there's more people in the world now, but there's more places to go and watch, isn't there? You can go to YouTube, you can go to Disney, you can go to Netflix, you can go to Peacock, you can go to Paramount Plus, you can, you know, so much you can do. You know, so much you can do that, you know, just watching people stream on Twitch or here on YouTube or whatever it might be. It's hard. It is harder than ever to get views. And it's getting harder, not easier. It's getting harder. So I think that I think to try and measure them through ratings is very difficult. But I think you just look at the impact this story has had on this current product, and the ratings are insane. You know, if you look at the YouTube views, massive. If you look at merch sales, massive. I mean, they are ticking every box, aren't they? Just killing it. People's Wrestling Champ said, I was the one that was dressed as Reigns. I remember, dudes. I remember. Yeah, awesome costume. Absolutely loved it. I thought you was one of the best dressed that I'd seen across both of the days. So, yeah, as I said, I hope you had a great time, dudes. I hope you really enjoyed it. Robin said, who do you think wins between Braun and Elia tonight? Winner faces Mellow at Great American Bash. I think it's got to be Elia. If that I don't even know if that match is happening. I'm guessing it is, but it wasn't on the official preview tweet. But if it is, brilliant. I'm gonna go with Elia to get the win. I think that Elia is someone that Mellow hasn't faced one-on-one yet, and I think that Braun I think has faced Mellow a couple of times now. If you do Braun, you're do you know what? I'm going to be quite brave, and I'm going to say that if Braun wins tonight, he loses to Mellow, okay? Elia will get an opportunity further down the road, and he will win the title, okay? If Elia wins tonight, he will go on to face Mellow. I think that'll be interesting as to whether are they going to take the title off Carmelo yet? Are they going to take the title off Carmelo? I think Elia, there's rumors of him going to the main roster, and obviously this dissension in Imperium could suggest that Elia's going to join them, okay? So they might be setting the groundwork for Elia to come in there. Equally, they might not. Equally, it might just be a little story that they're doing on the main roster. I think Elia is a fantastic competitor. I think that he is an absolute NXT champion waiting. I think if he's staying in NXT, he's going to win that title. The only question mark I've got is, do you do it now? Because Carmelo Hayes has got that belt, and I don't know if you take that belt off him yet. I don't know if taking the belt off him now is the right thing to do. So I think this is going to be a really interesting match. I'm expecting Elia to win, but if Elia loses, then I think that we will put the title on him just further down the road. I don't think Braun is winning the title back. I really don't think Braun wins the title back. So that's why I'm leaning towards Elia winning, because I just feel like we've done the Braun matches. Carmelo Hayes against Braun has been done. It's been done. Don't need it again. So I don't feel like I need to see that match again. So with that being said, that's why I'm leaning Elia. But it might be Braun. If they want Elia to win the title, they might just delay it because, as we said, it might also be a little bit too soon right now. But it's a great question, and it's one that I think we can throw over to a poll. So who wins? Who do you think wins? Do you think it's going to be Elia, or do you think it is going to be Braun? Who do you think is going to pick up the win tonight? That is in the chat right now. Undercover Manager said, do you think with crowdfunding we could get a UK European Federation off the ground that might produce weekends of wrestling once a month with a few regular stars that could come and fly in? I don't think so. I think that you've had Progress and Rev Pro that have obviously got some funding. They've obviously got a community. They've got a good support behind them. There was people, friends of mine that used to go down to watch Progress, that would go down once a month to watch it, that were really into it. I feel like we've got that. We've got Progress. We've got Rev Pro. What we don't have is we don't have that big TV, massive kind of federation. We don't have that big TV juggernaut. We don't have World of Sport. And to be honest, they even tried to bring World of Sport back, didn't they? They tried to get World of Sport to come back, and that didn't last long. I don't know what the ratings were like for that actually on ITV, but it didn't work. They had people like Davey Boy Smith Jr. against Will Ospreay. They did that match on ITV. I mean, it's mental because I think they had Piper Niven on that show as well. Rampage Jackson. There was a few. You could do it's probably been done, but you could do a really, really good video on the reboot of World of Sport from about 4 years ago. Maybe 5 years ago. And as I said, it's got some big names that were involved. So just looking at the fact that Progress was, has got good support and never kind of broke through to TV. Looking at Rev Pro, who bring in New Japan stars and have brought over plenty of people from the US. You're never going to get WWE. WWE don't play with other people, right? So you're not going to be able to do that. So you're looking at AEW, you're looking at New Japan, and Rev Pro have brought in New Japan, and they brought in some AEW. I think there was, I forget who it was, but someone came over and did Rev Pro from AEW. So we've seen some stuff like that, but it just never gets to any kind of level where it's on mainstream TV. So could you start another one and have someone else that gets to that level? Sure. But I would argue we've already got it. I would argue what the UK needs is it needs a British TV company that's actually got mainstream stars that are known, household names, like it was back in the day. Like Big Daddy was, and Giant Haystacks was, and Mick McManus, and Johnny Saint, and Rollerball Rocco, and those kind of names. We don't have that. Wrestling is not in the public consciousness outside of WWE and AEW. And of course, for those that are into wrestling, Impact, MLW, New Japan, blah, blah, blah. But it's not on TV. You're not going to flick through the channels on TV and find British wrestling. And I think there is a need for that. But the problem is there a TV company that's going to support it? And is there a TV company that's going to put the work into getting that product over? It's one thing to actually put it onto TV. It's something completely different to then really support it, I mean, if it was going to be on ITV, have the wrestlers go on some of the late night talk shows, do some of the game shows with some of the wrestlers and actually get them out there, so that they're being seen. Do some fun activity days where people can come and, they can talk to the wrestlers, meet the wrestlers, see a show live, do some sort of events or, get out to the schools or whatever it might be, like that kind of support. It's one thing to just go, here's some TV time. If the ratings aren't doing it, then you just pull the plug. I mean, you've done the bare minimum, haven't you? Can you actually support it? Can you actually get behind it? And we don't have that. We've never had that. Not since World of Sport. So, things like Big Daddy was going on to This Is Your Life, which was a big show where they would get like big stars and they would sneak. I think you had it in America. Sneaker. They should do it now, actually. I don't know why that show's not on. But, they'd have like, say, Adele singing. And then all of a sudden, the guy would come on with the big red book and the crowd would know what that meant. And Adele would be singing. She'd turn around, see the guy there, and she'd be all shocked. And then they'd go, right, we're going to whisk you off, finish your gig, but we're going to whisk you off to the studios because this is your life. And then what they do is a TV episode where they bring out their school teachers, their best friends. They bring out other celebrities. They share stories. They kind of tell you about, this is Adele. This is what she's, where she was born and how she was raised, how she got into music, who her inspirations were. Bring out one of the inspirations, nice moment where they're talking, blah, 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 blah. They did that with Big Daddy, a British wrestler. And that show had all the stars. All the stars went onto that kind of a show. So, this is where, you want wrestling not just to be on TV, but you need to get them onto those kind of game shows, onto those kind of chat shows, onto those kind of TV shows where they're just getting put constantly in front of casual fans and non-casuals, people that don't even watch wrestling. Get them in front of those people. Get them in front of people that don't watch wrestling, that might see them and go, he's a nice guy. I like that person. And just, it might spark a bit of interest. They go and check it out, So, yeah, interesting question. Sean said, good Tuesday. Good Tuesday. I've noticed that many, if not all, of the current WWE champions are Triple H people from Black and Gold NXT. Thoughts on those and future NXT stars? It's not a great surprise because, to be honest, that is WWE's system. So you go to NXT, you go to the main roster. There's very few that just go straight to the main roster. AJ Styles is one that would come to mind, but really outside of that, there's very few. I mean, even Omos was doing NXT house shows. So, if you're brought in, you will surely spend some time at the Performance Center. It would be interesting to know if AJ Styles actually spent any time at the Performance Center before debuting at the Rumble. I would guess he did. Spend time at the Performance Center before going to the Royal Rumble. But he certainly wasn't doing any NXT shows or house shows or anything. He just went straight to the main roster. I think the reason for that is because they basically picked up someone that was very well known in North America. Someone that I think they had confidence that when he walked out, it wouldn't be crickets. In a way, it's like signing, say, MJF. If WWE signed MJF, they're probably not putting him in NXT. They're probably going to put him straight on the main roster because he might spend a bit of time with Sean and might spend some time at the Performance Center just so they can make sure that he's got understanding of the do's and don'ts, right? Your cans and your can'ts. Just make it whatever. But actually him spending time in NXT or him doing NXT house shows, I can't see that. I could see him going straight to the main roster. But a lot of people that they bring in are people that are indie talent that aren't known, or they're people that have come from, say, Japan that aren't going to be very well known to the North American audience. We've said it before, but wrestling fans can sometimes just think that the world thinks the same way as them, in the sense of, if you watch a lot of wrestling, it's unfathomable that people wouldn't know who Okada is. How could you not know who Okada is? Very easily, actually, because very few people watch New Japan, right? And very few people engage with the dirt sheets, the wrestling dirt sheets. That's not what a lot of the kids are doing. They're not checking out what Dave Meltzer's got to say, right? They're not watching New Japan. So there's a lot of people that Okada just doesn't mean anything. Ospreay doesn't mean anything. This is why Shinsuke when he came from New Japan, he went to NXT so that they could build him up. The NXT crowd were excited to see him. But I promise you, if he'd have come out on that main roster, it would have been crickets, right? Asuka, she went to NXT. Finn Balor, who can speak English, he went to NXT, right? You mean, of anyone that I've just mentioned, you would think Balor with the demon and what with being English speaking, so he can do promos, right, from the get-go with his experience, you would think he would go to the main roster. But the truth is, again, he didn't work in North America. He hadn't been in Impact. He hadn't been exposed on American TV. And so the feeling was, well, he's coming from New Japan. Let's put him down in NXT, get the crowd used to seeing him, build up a bit of hype, get the demon out there, you know, get it on Twitter, all this kind of stuff. We'll use our social media machine. And then when he comes up, people will know of him because of his time in NXT. So it's no great surprise that the vast majority of people on the main roster are from NXT. We're starting to see more and more come in from not black and gold era now. You know, if you actually look, there's people like Grayson Waller, who's up there. I mean, he's not black and gold. If you look at Caden and Katana, they're not black and gold. There's a few that we're starting to see, and obviously more as Braun is sure to be called up. Creeds, we think, are on the verge of being called up. It's just NXT. It doesn't really matter what era. It's just NXT. That's their system. You go into NXT, you go up to the main roster. And it's a system that works really, really well for them. Really well for them. Hayden said, Daze, I am waiting for my heritage DNA results. Hayden, shout out to you. I hope they come back with whatever it is you're hoping for. You're probably not hoping for anything, though, are you? I'd guess you're probably just like pretty chilled, see what comes back. But yeah, cool. It's expected to arrive in email in 3 to 4 weeks, says Hayden. Well, Hayden, you'll have to let us know. I think, Hayden, you're 100% English. That's what I think. I think you are 100% English. And I think you should seriously think about moving back over here, right? You need to come back home, Hayden. You need to come where all the cool kids are, right? You need to come back over here. And we'll wait and see, but that's what I'm expecting. Right, Undercover Manager said, do you or the chat, so this is the chat, have any suggestions for some wealthy people that have a known interest in wrestling? No. Someone that could make contact with starting something on UK TV? No. I'm not aware of, like, I think there's plenty of wealthy people that, have a passing interest in wrestling. I've seen a lot of like English football stars. I remember when the England team was at like the World Cup camp. There was footage of them like by a swimming pool, and they were like clotheslining inflatable unicorns and whatever. They were like, you know, the pool toys that you have, the inflatable pool toys. They were like drop kicking them and like all this. But and what was interesting, this was a few years ago, and the names they were shouting as they were doing it, they were like Kane and Stone Cold. They're like, oh, Stone Cold, Stone Cold. It's funny, isn't it? That era is still the era that seems to have stuck with people the most. The Attitude Era is the era that broke into the mainstream more so than anything else. I think Cena did as well. Yeah, I think you can go to most people and say John Cena, they'll know who he is. Don't know about Roman. I don't know about Roman. I think Roman will get there. But I honestly don't know. I feel like if you went up to the average guy in the street and went Stone Cold, Steve Austin, who is he? I think they'd say he's a wrestler. I think if you said John Cena, they'd say, you know, yeah, he's a wrestler actor, right? If you said Roman Reigns, just randomly, right? If you said it after the others, they'll probably see there's a link. But if you just said Roman Reigns to someone in the street, what's his profession? I don't know. I don't know if they'd say wrestler, or if they'd be like, don't know, I've never heard of him. Actually, I really don't know that. I don't know. That could be an again, fun little video. Go to a high street with a microphone, go up to a load of random people, ask them name 5 wrestlers. is £10 if you can name 5 wrestlers. And I'm sure they could, and you end up spending a bit of money, but it'd be interesting to know what 5 wrestlers the average person on the street would name. My guess would be Stone Cold, Hogan, Rock, Undertaker, maybe Kane, maybe Mankind. I certainly don't think it would be Seth, Roman, AJ Styles. Maybe if you found like a fan of the current products, but I'm meaning like the average person on the street, the average guy just walking down the street. That era just really resonated with people so much more than any other era. Just Hogan got through. Maybe Macho Man might be the odd Ultimate Warrior. I don't even know if you'd get many Andre the Giants, to be honest. I really don't think you would. I think you might get a Warrior. Almost certainly you'd get an Undertaker. Undertaker's just known by everyone, isn't he? But yeah, as I said, that could make for a fun little video. See what people answered. Wrestle Andy said, I've always wondered who non-wrestling fans would say is the most famous. Rock or Hogan would be my guess. Yep. Or Stone Cold. Undertaker, I think, would be in the running as well. Maybe Cena. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. And actually, that's one of those where you could probably on a Monday ask 50 people, and then on a Tuesday ask a different 50 people. You might end up with a different answer. I don't know. I don't know if there is an out-and-out answer. I don't know. It's really... I don't know if there's a way of finding that out. You'd have to do it'd have to be part of the, when everyone in the country answers questions in the census every 10 years. It'd have to be one of those. And finally, when we ask you to name a wrestler, what's the first wrestler that comes to mind? And then we could have 60 million odd results. And then we would know once and for all. Yeah, I wish there was a way of doing that and finding that out, but I don't know. I just don't know. Amin said, do you think Roman retires after he loses his title? No, I don't believe so. I think he goes away, but I don't believe he retires. Daze reads my mind. I was going to mention Andre, said Jim. Some people don't even know that The Rock was a WWF wrestler, says Trent. Yeah, that's probably true. A lot of people most know him as being a actor. The only thing I would say is he goes on to a lot of talk shows, and I've heard him talk about being a wrestler, and questions have come up about being a wrestler, and they ask him to do his catchphrase and what his catchphrase meant. I saw him on Graham Norton where he was talking about if you smell what The Rock is cooking, and he got asked to, can you do it the way you did it? And he did it. But he actually, whilst he was doing it, he was talking through, right now you have to tilt the head back. This is an important bit. When you do the smell, you've got to do the right. And he was like, the tongue thing is very important. And he kind of broke the whole thing down. So he's been on those kinds of shows where he has really spoken about his wrestling career. So it is true. There's going to be a good chunk of people that don't know. But I think there's a healthy amount of people that even if they didn't watch wrestling would know that he had been in WWE because they would have seen YouTube vids or interviews where he's spoken about it. And it's again, he is talking about wrestling, and he, in front of people that don't watch it, he's actually a fantastic ambassador for WWE. Because he's going around onto talk shows talking about WWE. He's not the one that's bringing it up. The interviewers are bringing it up, but he is obviously talking about his past and talking about wrestling. And he's happy to do it. But getting the product in front of people that don't watch wrestling is so, so important. And I suppose this is why we're seeing Logan, I understand that what Logan does. I understand the purpose that he serves. I don't have to like it, right? It's a business thing. It's not a for my enjoyment thing. It's a business thing. But you can understand why they are using him. because he's got an audience there of kids, youngsters that potentially don't watch wrestling, that if they were to give it a go, potentially could really enjoy it. He is a very good fit for them. Right. Let's go. Let's see what NXT has got in store for us tonight, shall we? Wish I had some Taco Bell, says Tim. Perfect for black and gold memories. Patrick said, on NXT, Ivy Nile is someone that really confuses me. She looks like she could or should be a big star, but every time I see her, she never wins a match. What do you think her status is? Well, I thought that she was like the little pit bull in the Creed brothers, but, well, we're starting with Judgment Day here. So I thought that was her purpose. I don't know why we've never really pulled the trigger on her, but she'll be taking on Tiffany Stratton tonight. All 4 members of Judgment Day are here. Judgment Day have arrived. The Money in the Bank briefcase is in the building as well. So Rhea with that women's world title. Damian Priest. Pretty hot way to start the show, innit? With Judgment Day. So Finn and Damian actually just knock fists there. Fist bump each other. The bromance is real. Rhea just saying a few words to Dirty Dom. Dirty Dom is smiling and laughing. Damian Priest. In the ring. There is Rhea. There is Dirty Dom. So, Judgment Day in the ring. All over Raw. All over NXT. There's no escaping them. Mammy sucks sign in the crowds. Booker T says you can cut it with a knife. It is electricity right now. Judgment Day in the ring in NXT. It's always exciting when the main roster stars come down. We got Mommy Chance. Mommy Chance. Dom needs his pacifier sign. Welcome home, Chance. NXT. Dad is home. NXT. Dad is home. Finn's got to be in the running for, like, the most important person in NXT history. Don't know that he is. So, Finn says he's back to lay down some house rules with the Judgment Day. Senor Money in the Bank, and he's got his Senor Money in the Bank shirt on. The women's world champion, Rhea Ripley. Big cheer for her. Crowd are definitely on board with Rhea. Big Mommy Chance breakout again. And everyone's favorite. Dirty Dominic Mysterio. Loud boos for Dirty Dom. Loud boos in NXT. All rise for the Judgment Day. So, Damian Priest says, let's get down to business. We're the Judgment Day that run WWE. We're the Judgment Day that runs NXT. This is the murderer's row of WWE. Trick, Carmelo, and someone else is going to need to take down Dominic, Finn, and Damian, aren't they? I feel like we need one more person. Dumb man getting loud boos. This group is terrible, especially Rhea Ripley, who brings down every time she's there. Here's Trick. So, Carmelo and Trick. No, Rhea's not happy. You don't just interrupt Dirty Dom. Whoop that Trick. Carmelo says, why do they call him Dirty Dom? Is it because of all the times he dropped the... And he was about to say the soap, but Trick told him to settle down. This is about you, Finn. Oh. When they talk about NXT Mount Rushmores, you're at the top of everyone's list, and rightfully so. Yeah, where are we going with this? Where are we going? We got Mellow chance. You're in my ring now, Finn. You are arrogant, says Rhea. In this building, Trick Mellow Gang runs things, says Carmelo. The Archer of Infamy never missed a bullseye. Okay, so Trick is stepping up to Damian Priest here. Carmelo and Trick against Damian and Finn. Carmelo. If you come at the Prince, you best not miss. If you come at the Prince, you best not miss. Let's do it then. So, Trick and Mellow versus Judgment Day, but I don't quite get what that's going to be. I can only imagine it's going to be Finn and Damian. And Dominic's just going to have to sit on the sidelines and watch. Braun and Elia is tonight. There wasn't really much to that, was there, in the end? There was, the crowd were up for it. It's exciting to start with all 4 members of the Judgment Day. But as we said, it wasn't... it didn't really do anything that we wasn't already expecting. Future of Tony D'Angelo, Freedom or Trial, that is tonight. Tony's being interviewed. So Tony's being interviewed in prison. Is this allowed? What can I do? So Mackenzie's saying, are you saying that you don't trust Stacks? He's worried. Tony's worried. I don't know this kid anymore. He barely visits. So he said he doesn't know this kid anymore. He barely visits. Okay, here is Chase U. There's Thea. Chase U against Gulak and Dempsey coming up. Right, needed more Judgment Day, said Dark Angel. Dom being totally ignored is priceless. Change this. Chase U versus Gulak and Dempsey. Is he really in prison, says Corey? Yes. Definitely. I've never been more sure of anything in my life. But Dom being ignored is priceless. Daze, do you have a fetish? Yes. That would be you dressed as a fish and me trying to catch you with an extra large fishing rod. That's my fetish. Ezra said, is it just me or would Dragunov against Cody be an amazing match? Dragunov against anyone would be an amazing match. Brock returns to Raw next Monday to answer Cody's challenge. He does, yes. He does. Right, let's go down. If the court system really worked like that, it would be a lot more fun, said Dark Angel. Yes. What is this show? No stars. We need Barry Horowitz, says Tim. Max said Thea Hale is the female Ultimate Warrior. J-Bone with chanting for Chase U. James said at least Tony has been in prison longer than Dom. What? He's been in prison ages, man. Tony's been in prison so long. William said, you would never catch me. I'm a fighter. Oh, I would. I've got experience. It's a fetish, but it's a fetish that I've engaged in the past. Dressing up young men like yourself, William, as fish, trout, salmon, sea bass. No discrimination. You're allowed to dress up as whatever fish you choose. Chuck you in the canal. I sit on the bridge with an extra large fishing rod and I watch as you approach. And then it's down to me to really hone my skills. It's just a game I like to play. Can I ask a question? I don't watch NXT. Is this NXT's Alpha Academy? Mm-hmm. Yes. I actually don't know which one came first. Probably Alpha Academy came first. But Chase U has been around for ages. They've been around so long now. Duke Hudson's been with them for a long time as well. I think he's probably coming up to like nearly 12 months in Chase U. So, yeah, I think Alpha Academy did come first. But, yeah, they Chase U have took it further. They've got like students that are in the crowd all in Chase U shirts and they have like classrooms and they have like little segments backstage and everything. So they go further than Alpha Academy. Alpha Academy really is just them three, isn't it? I've never seen anyone else. Did you enjoy the last test, said Max? Wood was incredible. Can't wait for the next one. The comeback is on. Loved it. It is a bit... there are points, though, where it gets a bit too much. Like, it's really hard to watch because it's so tense. It's so, like, you know... You just always feel like you're on the verge of losing. But, yeah, so gripping. But cricket, when it's really good like that, when it's two close teams, can just be, you know, up there with anything else, any sport in the world. So, yeah, it was gripping. It was brilliant. Can't wait for the fourth test. Just hope England win it so that we can potentially still win. If Australia win the next one, that's it. 3-1, they win the Ashes. So next game's massive. Here, right, we was at commercial break. We're going back. Here's Gigi Dolan. She trashed Kiana James's office last week. Kiana James is afraid. Kiana, you said we aren't that different. After you gave me a fresh coat of paint, your office was redecorated. The gloves come off. Yes, please. I'm begging you to take them off. You live a lie. I embrace who I am, but you live a lie. Kiana, so there's old pictures of Kiana which have upset her. So pictures showing Kiana not being like the businesswoman that she claims to be. Okay, Dempsey and Gulak, we are underway. Kiana. Hey, has the bell gone here? I don't think it has. Wow. Gulak and Duke Hudson go flying to the outsides. Dempsey's really interesting, isn't he? Because he is someone that, I mean, it's William Regal's kids. He's got, you would think, a bright future, but his style is just not the WWE style. It's just not the style that I think really entertains fans or gets fans going. Kick his face off. I think Thea Hale just yelled. Thea Hale just looked around. She just yelled, "Kick his face off!" And she just sort of like sniggered a little bit, like. Oh, there's a couple of people that are watching the action. Is that Los Lotharios? Is that Los Lotharios? No, that's Nima and Price. Nima and Price are watching on. So Nima and Price watch on. I still don't know if this alarm has, this bell has gone off. Would you be happy if Bray was to come back and feud with Roman? Yes, as long as Bray didn't win the title. For a couple of reasons. I don't think he needs the belt. I also think if you look, he's had one match since he came back. He just does not strike me as being ready to be the champion and work main events. His last match as well, just his only match he's had since he came back was not well received. If you think, I mean, since WrestleMania 38 or 37, is that true? Since WrestleMania 37, he's had one match. I think that's true. Because WrestleMania 37, it wasn't long after that he gets released. We don't see him for a while, and then he gets released. Then he comes back. The only match he's had since he came back was the Pitch Black match. So that means that he's had one match, the Pitch Black match, since WrestleMania 37. I mean, I really feel like we need to sort out his creative. He needs to have some matches. He needs to get some matches under his belt. I think he's been dealing with some injuries. We know that his knee has been all kind of got a support on it. I think the idea of him coming back, going after Roman and potentially being the one to end Roman's, like, I know there's a lot of excitement about maybe doing Bray Roman at Payback and it being like, a callback to a few years ago. I mean, you could do that, but I certainly don't think Bray wins. So I just feel like he just feels broken in every sense of the words. Physically, mentally, creatively, everything just seems broken. So I feel like whatever we need to do is we need to get that fixed. We need to fix the creative. He needs to fix physically. I don't know mentally where he is, but I feel like we need to get things fixed. Putting the title on him does not seem like the right way forward. We've got a Mexican wave going around right now. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, to be honest, because normally if the crowd are doing a Mexican wave, it means they're sort of entertaining themselves. Against the ropes, you don't see a Mexican wave in wrestling very much. They used to do them, though, the night after WrestleMania. Mexican waves was something you would get on the Raw after WrestleMania. Chase U in control. I gotta say, the Chase U people are getting involved in it, though. A teachable moment. It's a teachable moment. So we just managed to get a Mexican wave. Daze, WWE is about engaging characters, wrestling style that engages the crowd, appeals to casuals, having the right look that's not generic. Charlie Dempsey isn't ticking boxes. Bembo Sports said Nima and Price look like the real thing. Feels like the Usos just need better names. Bronco Nima and Lucian Price are terrible. Daze, I am back. I'm sorry I kept leaving. Mole Jam, no worries, man. Appreciate you stopping by. Anna, shout out to you, says Heyman at a casino in Connecticut was seen at the buffet feeding his damn face. Tell you what, I went to a casino back in early June. First time I'd ever been to a casino, and went to one, and it was amazing. Like, the food was amazing. It was so good. I think like they need good food and they need good beer prices to keep you around. Like, there's no need for you to leave. If you want something to eat, great food. If you want to drink, well, you're going to struggle to find cheaper. Just stay, play on the slots a bit longer, play on the table a bit longer. It was good, really good food. So I don't blame him. If he went to a casino and indulged himself in the buffet, I can only my only regret is that I wasn't there with him, to be honest. Trini says, The Fiend is toxic. We as fans need to let him rest in peace and give Bray a chance to reinvent himself once more. Unfortunate that he has to, but WWE ruined The Fiend, says Trini. Christopher said, this is not a real university, just in case you wasn't sure. Do you think WWE is going to break up Imperium based on what happened? Not sure. I think it was just a bit of a tease, because actually later, behind Logan, you could see all three of them talking. So it's not like they walked away from Giovanni Vinci and that's it. I thought that was quite interesting, having the three of them talking behind Logan when Logan was backstage, because that suggests that group is still communicating. They haven't closed the door on Giovanni. It definitely teases that there is problems, but how do they fix that problem? That's the question. Do you fix it by bringing in a new member and tightening things up? Or do you fix it by kicking out Giovanni Vinci? I think there's definitely something going on. I think it's fine that something's going on. I don't know quite where it's going to lead. I would worry if Giovanni Vinci was to leave, because I don't think he didn't really make a name for himself as a solo star in NXT. I mean, we didn't really get too long to do that, to be honest. He wasn't out of Imperium that long. But, you know, they were trying a few things. He had a bit of a model type gimmick going. But, yeah, I would worry about him. So I don't know that removing him is the right way forwards. I like Ludwig. I think Ludwig's got a good look. Obviously, I love Gunther. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. What do you do with Imperium? I feel like Imperium are fine. You just got to treat them better. Such a problem when you've got someone like Gunther, who the challengers, you know, clearly, if you want to get at Gunther, if you're Drew McIntyre, to get to Gunther, you're going to go through Imperium, aren't you? You're probably going to have one-on-one matches, Drew versus Giovanni, Drew versus Ludwig, and Drew's going to win those matches because he wants to get at Gunther. But, you know, you do that repeatedly, and it just means that Imperium are just getting jobbed out. They're just losing all the time. They're the new Singh brothers. They're the new J&J Security, right? But it's just, that's not the position they should be in. They should not be in that position. They should be a really good, credible tag team that get results. So really, I feel like a lot of this is WWE's own doing. This is WWE doing this to themselves. So yeah, we'll have to see kind of where it goes. I would worry if Giovanni left, though. As I said, I really don't know what we would do with him. It'd have to be a maximum male model. Thea Hale running around on the outside as Andre Chase is stomping away at Charlie Dempsey, throwing in some kicks. Chase you! Right, we've got Andre Chase going to the outside, climbing up. Dempsey on his feet. Andre Chase, big crossbody. 1, 2. Oh, saved by Gulak. Save by Gulak. Charging over as Gulak moves out the way, looking for a German. German there by Gulak, straight into Dempsey. He manages to do a German, but pins Andre Chase. He manages to kick out. She's going to have an aneurysm, man. So, referee having a word with Gulak. Thea Hale. Oh, Thea Hale putting a Kimura on Gulak. Thea Hale with a Kimura on Drew Gulak. Part of him must be a bit proud of that, because he taught her that. Chase you. 1, 2, 3. Chase you get the win. So, Chase you with the win. It's good to see Chase you celebrate. That was pretty fun. Braun Breaker backstage says, Elia, you made a big mistake. You wasn't even on my radar. You've been behind me ever since your first day here in NXT. Tonight, there won't be enough referees. Okay. So, Braun has got a few words for Elia. Coming up next, we've got Cora Jade in action. Taking on, is it Kalani Jordan? So a win for Chase U. I was a listener of guys like JD Solomonster. I got fed up of hearing negativity. It was draining the fun out of wrestling. I needed an alternative. I came across you, says Big Time. Well, each to their own. You know, I don't. I did listen to Solomonster when I was in retail. I enjoyed his shows. I've never been a viewer of JD. I have no opinion of JD, to be honest. So I can't make any comment whatsoever. But I don't know. I think just be honest. You know, that's the only thing I look for is honesty. I always wanted to just listen to people that were telling me the truth. There's so much. And we actually just spoke about it on the Wrestling Escape pod. There's so much that gets blown out of proportion, and there's so much that gets sensationalized. There's so much stuff there's so much, first of all, there's so much fake news that's out there. I mean, constantly we're getting people jumping in the chat saying, have you heard this? Have you heard that? And seemingly it's just, not true. But it's because, you can't avoid it. It's on Instagram, it's on Twitter, it's on Facebook, it's on TikTok, it's on YouTube videos. There's YouTube channels that I'm sure you've seen that have, great views, but their content is just absolute made up rubbish. Absolute rubbish. And so you've got that side of YouTube. And the other side of YouTube or the other side of like the internet wrestling community are people that just take little things and just blow them up out of proportion. Because as we said, it's all clicks, it's all views and all that kind of stuff. So the one thing that I always just try to do is just try to be honest with what I'm seeing, what I'm thinking. Sometimes that can get me in a bit of trouble if people don't agree with my opinion on things. But yeah, I think just try and be honest. I mean, I've been a viewer of WWE since the early 90s. I absolutely love WWE and I love the product. But I feel like, you should be allowed to criticize it if you are someone that loves it. If you're someone, you can criticize it even if you're not. But I think if you're someone that wants the best for it, which I definitely do. I mean, I want to see this just go from strength to strength to strength. I'd love nothing more than for this to be back to like the Attitude Era where it was in the mainstream and everyone was watching it and everyone had their thoughts and opinions on it. Brilliant, you don't want it to be a little niche thing, do you, that only a handful of people are watching? I mean, thankfully, that's not the case right now. Thankfully, it's in a really good place. But yeah, I think it's just really important to be honest, but don't be afraid to be critical if there's things that you feel you need to criticize. But I'm really enjoying where the product is right now. I'm really enjoying it. Amin says, that was a fun moment last week with Solo at SmackDown. Mason said, I don't think I've seen anyone hate on Summit as much as Jim Cornette hates on AEW. WWE AEW fan said, I missed the WEP. I had a baseball game, but I've been here for the NXT show. No worries. It was a bit of a random WEP, to be honest, as most are. But we did have a look. It was a good little fun moment where we jumped into AliExpress. I was enjoying that. Maybe a bit too much. Just having a look, seeing what you can get on AliExpress at the moment that's WWE related. Pretty fun. Some pretty random stuff. There's a great fake Fiend mask on there. Okay, Vaughn again. Vaughn says he was on his own as he was growing up. If they think I'm a monster, that's what I'm going to be. It's hard not to feel different. He says, when I looked up and the people were with me, I didn't know what to do. I love that line. When I saw the people with me, I didn't know what to do. Okay, here's Kalani Jordan. She's going to be in action against Cora Jade. And we haven't seen much of Kalani Jordan, but considering she's really not had many matches, what she has been showing has been looking pretty good. Cora Jade taking Jordan over. Both women getting back up to their feet. Cora going against the ropes. Jordan. Nice. Charging over. Oh, God, that was sick. See that arm drag? Did you see that arm drag? That arm drag was sick. Right, she goes down. Oh, Cora Jade back in control. Jordan kicks out. Kick coming in there by Cora Jade. That arm drag by Jordan looked absolutely brilliant. Kicks coming into the back there by Cora Jade. And elbow to the back by Cora. Looking for the cover. Right. I like boobs. I don't care what anyone thinks, says William. Daze, for me, it's honestly right down the middle. Cool. It's out when it's good and when it's bad. I can't imagine wasting life away constantly down on every show. Yep. I agree big time, yeah. I think just hating on things just because that's your remit. That's what you're known for. That's what you're expected to do. It can't be healthy either, to be honest. Can't be healthy to just constantly like surround yourself with like and be negative and be ranting and everything. It must bleed into other parts of your life. It must do. Cora Jade with a boot to the midsection. Against the ropes goes Jade. Jordan moves out the way. I mean, look, this is like Jordan's second match that we've seen on NXT. I don't remember seeing her many times before. She's looking good. She's digging deep. She's doing some... The arm drag I thought was brilliant. Against the ropes goes Jordan. Collides into Jade's. Again. Oof. Cartwheel into a Pele kick. She didn't quite get all of it, but she got enough of it whereby it didn't look like it was a botch. Cora Jade with a strike to Jordan. Jordan goes back against the ropes. Jordan against the ropes. Duck underneath. Tries to springboard. Oh, she crashed hard, man. She crashed hard. She went on the ropes. She was looking to springboards. Cora Jade boots the ropes. 1, 2, 3. So Jade wins. She deserves to win. She should win. But Jordan again giving some decent performance there. Now Cora Jade trying to use that stick. Dana Brooke comes in. Dana Brooke, drop kick, down goes Cora. Clothesline, down goes Cora. And again. And now Dana's got that stick. She's trying to get Cora. Cora rolls out the ring. So, Dana chases Cora away. Did Judgment Day win? We haven't had a match yet. A match has been set up for later in the show. Is Elia. Look into these eyes. My intensity cannot be matched. Go on, Elia! Go on, Elia! Go on, mate! Oh, Dragunov! Dragunov! He is the man. He is the man. I am such an Elia Dragunov stan. His matches with Gunther might just be the very, very best WWE matches of the past 5 years. I don't even care. Don't even care. I've said it. But what about R-Truth against Akira Tozawa? No, I don't care. Gunther and Dragunov. I think the one I said was 5 stars. The other I said was like 4.75. Just brilliant. Brilliant. I mean, in all fairness, Cody and Seth was pretty good as well. That's right up there. But in fact, there's been loads of great matches. But yeah, I'm going to go with Gunther and Elia. Love Gunther. Love Elia. And we're going to be seeing Elia in action against Braun next. Daze, I think JD McDonough is going to be the 5th member for Judgment Day, says Amin. Moljam said Braun Breaker should have won the NXT title from Seth, but it wasn't expected to happen. Most likely Seth would retain. What about Piper Niven versus Nikki Cross, says The Beach Kevin. Good point. Mike says, when will they be out of the Performance Center? They won't. There's no plans to leave. They have spent a lot of money on doing up the Performance Center. That is home now. There's no reports of going back to Full Sail. Aubrey Edwards says, still think Rhea Charlotte WrestleMania is top 3 matches this year. Ryback and Lars for tag champs, says Tim. Mike said, when will it be on the road full-time in bigger crowds? Former center, they'll be leaving Orlando anytime soon. No, they've never left Orlando. The only time they leave Orlando is to do like a little tour. And they do the odd tour every now and again, but no. Or that is home. That is, Full Sail was home from, is it 2012, 2013? I think it was like 2012. All the way up till 2020. Yeah. 2012 to 2020, that 8-year period, Full Sail University in Orlando was where they were doing the shows from. And since then, since 2020, past like 3 years, we've been coming from the Performance Center. So the idea that they're going on the road, going into big arenas and all this, that's not what we've been doing with NXT. So if we are gonna do that, then that's gonna be something new, and it'll be because we're trying to get more viewers. Maybe the feeling might be that if you're in an arena full of lots of people, then maybe it just feels like a bigger deal. But I haven't seen any reports on that. I don't expect us to leave. Performance Center. Days, we are long overdue a jump with AEW stars to WWE. It's been 4 years since AEW was born. It can't just be Cody. We need a fresh landscape. Kashawn said, Days, after Roman and Solo put Jimmy in hospital and Jay's going after Roman's championship, do you think there's going to be a swerve where Jimmy costs Jay the title at SummerSlam? I mean, I don't think that, but it could happen. I'm not expecting that to happen. I don't know why it would go that way unless Jimmy was like just getting jealous or something, but don't know. Jimmy has got issues with Roman. I don't know why he would now like start some new issues with his twin brother. So I'm going to lean towards no. But there's nothing stopping it happening. If they wanted to tell that story, they could tell that story. Brian Pillman Jr. has left AEW. Not that it's a big deal. We never saw him anyway, says James. Fastlane, October 7th. Random, innit? Fastlane in October. It's going to be in Indianapolis. Oh, is that why, do you reckon? Fastlane, Indianapolis. Isn't that where they do like the Daytonas or something? Or the Indy 500? Right, we are just seeing Gable Steveson. And, of course, Eddie Thorpe last week. NXT Underground match, which was a lot of fun. Ronda tweeted a video of her beating Shayna using flashbacks to her UFC days, using the same moves she used last night. It's a cool video, says Aubrey Edwards. Bembo said, if you could trade anyone from AEW to WWE and WWE to AEW, who would you trade? Don't know. I'd probably take Jamie Hayter. I'd take Jamie Hayter. I like Ricky Starks. And I'd just give him like Akira Tozawa. I like Wardlow as well. I feel like you could do something with Wardlow. He says, the future of Gable Steveson, a national title, Olympics, but I love being here too. Here's Dijak. Dijak's upset. So, Gable Steveson says, national title, Olympics, but I do love being here too. Like, don't know what the future's going to hold. Okay, so Elia is making his way down. Change this. But why are we talking about a pay-per-view that's 3 months away? Good point. Elia versus Braun coming up. Do you think R-Truth deserves to go into the Hall of Fame? Yes. 100%. I believe he is... It's the first black... I want to say the first black NWA champion, but that doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. That can't be right. He's actually achieved something really impressive, which I can't remember what it is now. That's how impressive it is. First African. Oh, first. He won. Oh. Yeah. He won the NWA World Heavyweight Championship twice, becoming the first African-American title holder. That just did. I don't even know how that's possible. Don't know how that's possible. He won the title in 2002. So, are we honestly saying there was no African-American NWA World Champions before 2002? Because that title predates the WWE one. That title goes like well before 1960, when Capital Wrestling is set up. Doesn't actually mention much about it on the thing, but yeah, that is that's on his Wikipedia page. Who's? Yeah. Maybe it must be true, mustn't it? I mean, that is just that's one of those facts that I can't get my head around. I can't understand it. The territory. I know that, like, obviously, you know, African Americans were not treated as equals in the past. So, you know, you go back to say, like, you know, the 40s, whatever, the 50s. But you would think, like, I suppose Flair dominated the 80s and Harley Race as well. Even in the 90s, like, I don't know. It's just one of those facts I just, like... So, yeah, anyway, first African-American NWA champion. He definitely goes in the Hall of Fame. And I know people will be like, yeah, but what's that got to do with WWE? But WWE's Hall of Fame is really an acknowledgement of kind of wrestling in a way. There's lots of legacy people that have gone in that never stepped foot in a WWE ring. Even we saw Great Muta go in, who had done stuff in WCW, of course, but never done anything in WWE. So I sort of look at R-Truth, who's done plenty in WWE. If you're going to put him in, you put him in for what he's done in his career, not just WWE. But even in WWE, he's like been in WWE a long time. Gone to commercial break here. These two battling away. He's been in WWE a long time. I think even for like his service, So 2008, he re-signed with WWE. I think it's been pretty much constant since then. So he has served 15 years. 15 years service with WWE. And that's the second time, because obviously he was around in the Attitude Era. So he was K-Quick in the Attitude Era, 99 to 2002. So he's in WWE in the Attitude Era. Then he goes to Impact, TNA, becomes the first African-American NWA champion, finds his way back to WWE in 2008, and then has spent 15 years with the company since then. Like, to me, if you're going to look at his career as a whole, he absolutely goes into the Hall of Fame. The other thing as well that I don't think gets taken into account is just the amount of joy that people like R-Truth can bring, not only to TV, but to house shows. If you think about how many house shows he has been a part of, where he will have come out and the crowd, you know, would have sung along, done the What's Up stuff, and he would have been involved. He would have been the comedy guy that would have been involved in a lot of comedy segments during house shows. Even if he's not getting onto Raw and SmackDown, putting in that work, being on the road, doing those shows night after night after night, he's done that. And, you know, sometimes I think as fans, we can be guilty of saying, well, what have they done? Like, you know, and just judge them by if they've been a world champion or not in WWE. But if you look at the fact he's been in with them, 15 years, he did 3 years with them before. He's coming up to like 20 odd years in WWE. And I know he's not been used on TV like all the time or even that much at times, but he will have been used on house shows. He still is given to WWE. And I just think that those are the kind of people that deserve to be recognized as well as your world champions. I've said before, I think like once you get to like 10 years, certainly 15 years or whatever, then I think you're in the running. There's plenty of people that come and go that don't quite make it. But I think if you've really committed yourself to this company for a decent period of time, then I think you deserve to get some sort of recognition. So yeah, definitely for me, no problem. What are your thoughts on Logan Paul's promo? Didn't really have any, to be honest, buds. My phenomenal figures. I thought that it was so-so. It didn't blow my mind. No one was talking about it during the watch along. I think that I didn't listen to it and think it was cringe. The one thing I did think was that he was saying that he's not about clicks and he's not about moments. He is the moment. But it's just not true. It's just not true. He was in the Royal Rumble and he had to do that spot where he launched and, collided midair with Ricochet. Then obviously at Money in the Bank, the plan was to fall off the ladder, bounce off the ropes and Spanish fly immediately through the table. And his legs got caught. And so, Ricochet still did the move. It didn't work. It didn't work. Didn't look like it should have. It looked like a horrific botch. But, it was... He's nothing but moments. He's all about the moments. He's all about prime bottles dancing down to the ring, turning out to be KSI that gets put through a table. He's all about Jake Paul coming down during his match with Roman Reigns. He's all about recording as he does a splash to someone that's on a commentary table. So for him to say something that so obviously lies, I know he's a heel and they're healing him up. So you could look at it and go, yeah, he's a heel, he's lying. That's why he's done it. But it doesn't make me angry. And I said this last night. When he says that, I don't hate him for lying. I don't get wound up or anything because he's lying. I just think that's not true. It's not true. What you've just said there is not true. It doesn't make me hate him more. It doesn't make me angry. It just doesn't, I don't know, it just falls flat. It just falls flat. Lovely Germans here. So I must admit, I kind of listened to it as yeah. And then I just moved on. I didn't really have a passionate feeling about it. Other than he definitely lied. NXT chants as Elia is suplexing Braun. We got 2 minutes to go till we get to the halftime scores. Elia charging over. Kicks coming up there by Braun. Elia, look at Elia, man, slumping over backwards. Like some out of a horror film. Braun is climbing up. Crowd are, oof. No, it wasn't perfect. He tried to bulldog Elia. He got enough of him whereby Elia went down. We have asked the question, who's going to win this? 57% of you said Elia. 43% of you said Braun. Might as well end that poll now, actually. Elbows coming in, because it feels like we are probably getting to the conclusion soon of this, as Elia hurls Braun into the corner. Braun down, certainly feeling the effects at the moment. Look at that. Oof. Both guys are down. NXT chants in the crowds. There's quite a few kids in the crowds. I can see a few younger faces. You can hear the kids as well when the NXT chant breaks out. That's got to be an encouraging sign. Dragunov coast to coast. Gets it, but not all of it. So, coast to coast there by Elia. This is awesome, is the chant. Elia charging over, collides into Braun, looking for the cover. 2. Oh, kick out by Braun. Kick out by Braun. Braun goes over by the ropes. Elia can't believe it right now. Crowds are applauding away. Tiffany against Ivy Nile coming up next. Elia on the outside. Braun still down. Elia climbing up to his feet. Looking out at the crowds. Crowds on their feet. Enjoying the action so far. We just had "This is awesome" chants. Elia up top. Oh, into a spear. 2. Oh, kick out by Elia. Wow, Elia off the top came crashing down, was speared. Got speared midair. Look at this. Boom. Oh. Huge spear. He took so long to get up there, you felt that something like that was going to happen. Holy ship chants. Dragunov is down and he's not in a good place. Braun is all over him. Smashing Elia's head off the ring. Braun with a few words, shouting out at the crowds. Braun grabbing Elia, looking to pick him up. He's got him up in the air. DDT! DDT by Elia. DDT by Elia. Really fun match. Really fun match. Elia grabbing Braun. He's trying to pick up Braun. No joy at the moment. Picks him up. Looking for a powerbomb. Oh, connects. 1, 2. Kick out by Braun. Kick out by Braun. Kick coming in there by Elia. Elia back in the corner. Oh, man. I love that. 1, 2. Oh, Braun was down. Elia was in the corner. He just hurled himself and just smacked Braun in the side of the head. It was one of those moves. It's one of those moves where you just throw in everything. You just throw in everything. Just throw this big shot. Stay down type move. Just don't know what else to do. Just take this. I love that. It's like a Superman punch to a grounded opponent. Against ropes goes Elia. Looked like a headbutt. I don't know if he was meant to headbutt him or elbow him, but he headbutted him in the back of the head. He rolls over Braun. 2, 3, and Elia gets the win. Elia gets the win. Elia versus Carmelo Hayes. Great American Bash. That is going to be wild, man. That is going to be wild. Do they put the belt on Elia? Oh, God, what a match. Oh, God, what a match. What a match. Carmelo Hayes against Elia Dragunov. I mean, that really is dream match NXT territory. That is very much dream match territory. There can't be anyone that's down on that. There can't be anyone that's like, oh, Carmelo against Elia. There just can't be. Wow. He did it. He did it. He did it. Elia Dragunov picks up the win, sets up a massive encounter with Carmelo Hayes on July 30th, Sunday, July 30th. We are all over that. All over that. It's on a Sunday as well. One love. Okay. So it's going to be Wesley against Mustafa Ali at Great American Bash. So Wesley is being interviewed. It's Judgment Day. You're the open challenge guy. I accept. Dirty Dom accepts. Because I'm around now, you don't want to do one. Things got crazy. Next week. Next week. Dirty Dom versus Wesley, North American Championship next week. Well, he can't win it, though, can he? Dirty Dom can't win it unless we're going to get Dirty Dom versus Mustafa Ali. The fact that we've already set up Mustafa Ali for Great American Bash makes me think that Dirty Dom won't get the job done next week. This is where, you know, we're stacking everything in advance so much that I think some things might be getting in each other's way a little bit. Because I would love to think that Dirty Dom was about to win that. Because the reaction would be crazy if Dirty Dom was to beat Wes. Tiffany Stratton making her way down to the ring. So it's going to be Tiffany in action against Ivy Nile. Tiffany versus Ivy coming up next. Daze very lifted on that Lanny Poffo. It makes you a genius. If you was a wrestler, what would be your finisher? What would it be called? Very lifted, very drank. R.I.P. Damien the Snake. We would never find out what my finisher would be if I was a wrestler, because I'd never get that far. If I was to compete against people, it'd be a minor miracle if I didn't just lose every match within the first 10 seconds. So I don't think I'd ever need to worry about a finisher, to be honest, but I love that, though. Lifted on that Lanny Poffo. It makes you a genius. If you know, you know. We should be grateful that Dirty Dom didn't do him dirty and take his title tonight, says Kappa. Gave him an extra week to be relevant. Love it. Breakfast at Tiffany's, Miss Clown. Shout out to you. Yeah, it's a little bit past, but it normally is. But it's still the closest we're going to get to halftime scores. Everybody, it's the halftime scores. I really want to know your halftime scores. Put it in the chat. Halftime scores. Everybody, it's the halftime scores. Are you happy? It's the halftime scores. Are you happy or you sad? Halftime scores. Everybody, it's the halftime scores. I should get that recorded. If I got it recorded, I could just press play then. Just sit here like this. Charlotte Jude said, where's Mandy Rose and Apollo? Have they been released? I tuned in for a pay-per-view once and saw them. So Mandy Rose has been released because she was doing like OnlyFans stuff. And the thing is with WWE, they've got a lot of advertisers and sponsors. And even though people go, oh, you did it in the Attitude Era. Well, this is a very different time, right? This isn't the Attitude Era. Hence why we don't call this the Attitude Era. So it's very different. This is the PG era. And WWE are not screaming puppies and doing what they were doing before. So Mandy Rose doing what she did was out of line with where the company is at the moment. And so as a result, she was let go. A lot of people felt it was unfair. I didn't, to be honest. I think as long as they gave her the option to say, look, you either continue doing that or you stay with us. Like, it's one or the other. You can stay, right? But you do have to stop doing that stuff, or still do it, but just don't, go as far as how far you're going. If as long as they did that, and I said that at the time, as long as they gave her that option and didn't just go, right, you're fired, then I would say, well, it was her choice. She chose to keep doing that stuff, and so that was her choice. In regards to Apollo, he got called up. He was actually part of the draft. He got called up, but we have not seen him. I mean, he got called up, and we just have done nothing with him. So I honestly don't know what we're doing there. I think you could put him with Omos. You could put him with Omos, and you could maybe look to start a bit of a faction or do some, at least a tag team. But there's been nothing for him. Kim said, I know it's a joke, but Dom is nowhere near the greatest heel of all time. I just feel like that should be said. We are overdue. Oh, I read that one big time. Would your entrance music be the halftime score theme, said Wrestling Daze? I think it would. Either that or I'd create some new theme music and then I'd get you lot to vote on it. Right, Big Time said 7. Tingling, hello, says 5.5. What's this? Corbin. What is my future? Why are we watching him in bed? This house. This life. As I look back, I can see I have nothing in common with those I portrayed to be. Who the hell am I? What is this? He's got in his car and he's driven somewhere and there's a lot of torches. Is he a racist? There's someone in a hood and there's torches everywhere. He's trying to figure out who he is. I think you took a wrong turn there, Baron Corbin. I think you went down the wrong road, mate. Jeez. Get back in the car, Corbin. Get back in the car. What's all these torches just in a field? I mean, I don't know about you. If I'm in a car and I'm just randomly driving, and I come across a load of torches in a field, I ain't stopping. I ain't getting out. There was someone in a hood, looked quite big. Interesting. Ivy Niles got a top on that says Creed. Is it Creed? I don't know what it says. Ivy Nile in the ring then with Tiffany. It's Uncle Howdy. Yay! Uncle Howdy. You tapped out to Tiffany. That's such a cheap-looking T-shirt that Ivy's got on. Looks like the kind of thing that she's gone and just had made up like pretty quick at the local T-shirt print shop. Hottie biscotti, give me a cup. I don't know what Booker's on about, man. Because losing his mind. Booker always loses his mind when Tiffany Stratton's in the ring. He can't cope, can he? Honestly, if I'm Queen Shamel, I'm having words every time he's coming back home. Every time she's in the ring, he's like, hotties biscotti and all this kind of stuff. Goes high-pitched and just doesn't make any, like, I don't even know if what he's saying are actual words. There's just noises that come out of Booker. Ivy grabbing the leg of Tiffany. Oh, God, look at that. Stratton, though, grabbing the head of Ivy. You tapped out chance. Clothesline misses. Lovely shot there by Ivy. 15 minutes into the second hour. Moljam said, Attitude Era is overrated and garbage. This is not the PG era. This is the new generation era. Well, we've already, yeah, we've had a new generation era. Ivy goes to the outside. If I'm driving and I see torches lit on the side of the road, I'm going 200 miles an hour to get away from it. I don't care about hitting people. Joke, obviously, about hitting people. To be honest, as long as it's not me that you're hitting. Right, nice double stomp there by Tiffany. Did you see Collision did 5-8? I did, yes. Yes, thank you for reminding me. I was going to bring that up. Yeah, it's all right. Oh, we said, didn't we? I mean, we were looking at those films and real rough, super rough. But, like, seemed like 550 to 600 was kind of the range. There was some that were below that. There was some that were above that. So for me, I think judging off 12 weeks of data, if they're going to be in that 550, 600,000 range, then that's what I'd be looking for. And it's come out at 580. So you go, oh, well, there we go. So I think that they will be relatively okay with it. They will obviously want more. But at least it's not stayed at that kind of 450 range. She was looking for the knockout blow there. Ivy Nile as Tiffany rolls out the ring. Ivy grabs the head of Tiffany. Shoulder tackle. Why doesn't WWE use Titus on TV except for when they promote charity work? I suppose there's not really much to use him for. He is their kind of charity ambassador. He's done like in ring wise. So now he kind of like does these like the community, the outreach stuff. Lovely moonsault. Lovely moonsault. 1, 2, 3. That was lovely. Yeah, so there's not really a need to use him. Unless you was promoting your charity stuff, because that's his job now. So Tiffany wins. Nice dragon sleeper that was applied there by Tiffany. She hurls Ivy into the corner. The prettiest moonsault. It is lovely. So Tiffany with a hard-fought win over Ivy Nile. You tapped out chance by the Chase U students. I didn't tap out. I beat Thea fair and square. So crowd chanting, you tapped out. Thea's like, I can tap anyone out now. I tapped Tiffany out. I tapped her out. I tapped her out. I tapped her out. It's not one and done. You're not done with Tiffany. You tapped her out. You can become the NXT Women's Champ. Rematch, 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 rematch. So Thea wants a rematch. Okay, time for Stacks and Joe Coffey. You're not one and done with Tiffany. I love how Thea was like, I'm not. No. Rematch, rematch, rematch. Okay, that's Thea is a submission specialist now. Quite the development, isn't it? I wasn't expecting that for her character development, but here we are. Stacks versus Joe Coffey. Right. Has WWE given up on Alba and Elia? Indy Hartwell is floating around. Main event. I ask, why did we purge NXT without a plan in place, says Big Time. Well, Indy had an injury, hasn't she? So I'm not worried about Indy. She did her legs. I mean, she was on crutches when she got called up. So I think that we have not had plans for Indy. The plans, I think, this is the problem with wrestling, because I think the plan for Indy could have been, we're going to do some stuff with Tommaso, we're going to do stuff with The Way. So you bring her up and you do these things. But then, of course, Johnny's picked up an injury recently. Johnny's just coming back from injury. Indy got injured at the end of her time in NXT. So, you know, all of this stuff just throws things out. I don't know what their plans were for Alba and Elia. They've obviously got the NXT women's tag titles off of them. But who knows? I mean, like, maybe they've got something planned to do with Bray, but Bray hasn't come back. And so they thought that they could do something there, or... honestly, it's without knowing, without being in the room, it's hard to know. But the one thing I do feel confident about is that you wouldn't call people up if you didn't have a plan for them or an idea for them. So the fact that we've just not really done anything with Elia or Alba makes me think that we're either waiting to get, say, SummerSlam out the way, and then we're going to do what we want to do after SummerSlam. Or we was going to do something with them and injury has hit, plans have changed. And so it's meant that what we did have planned for them can no longer go ahead. So it's really difficult because, again, as wrestling fans, you're always dealing with just, you know, a handful of facts rather than the full picture. And so without knowing, without being in the room, it's hard to say. Rematch. Thea has got so much charisma, she will be a star one day, says Who Dat Prods. I missed the Mixed Match Challenge. That was fun, said Justin. Did you hear about Francis and Fury, says Wrestlandia? I did. I mean, I think it'll be a decent fight. It'll have a decent build, I would imagine. There'll be interest, but I can't see Fury losing that. Fury is someone that spent his whole life dedicated to boxing. And I understand that if you can punch and you've got a good punching power, that, you know, you have got a chance. But, you know, Tyson's been in there with Deontay Wilder, who we know has got serious punching power, right? I mean, I don't even know if Ngannou can hit harder than Wilder. I don't know that there's many people in the world that can. But either way, Fury has fought against Wilder and has managed to neutralize that threat in 2 of the fights. I mean, you could argue he was winning the first. And then, of course, he gets knocked down in the 12th. He manages to get back up, and then it ends a draw. So you would probably say if that knockdown didn't happen in the 12th, he would have won the first fight as well. But he did get caught, and he did get knocked down, but he did manage to get back up. And then he went on to win the next 2 fights. So I've got to look at Ngannou, who's got no experience, to my knowledge, in boxing, and think that he is just at such a disadvantage. It'll be a great payday, but I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't understand how he just goes straight in against the champ. Shouldn't he, like, prove himself first against someone a bit lower down to show that he can actually do this? But truth is, if he was to do that, I think he'd get shown up, and then he could never fight Fury. It's a payday, innit? It's a payday. This division is for grown-ass women. Girls like Roxanne don't beat people like me, says Blair. It's a shame about Soul, isn't it? So, people like Roxanne don't beat people like me. Ring, ring, ring. Right, we are underway. Stacks versus Joe Coffey. What's going to happen with Tony? If Stacks wins, Tony, the charges are dropped and Tony is released. If Coffey wins, Tony is charged. Who do you think will induct R-Truth? Vince, question mark. Imagine how good his speech will be. I don't think Vince would induct R-Truth. I don't think he would. I think they've got a good relationship. But it's very rare for Vince to induct people. So I don't think it would be. I don't actually know who R-Truth is really close to. Everyone likes R-Truth. So I mean, he could pretty much ask anyone and they would say yeah, but I don't know who he would ask. Maybe Little Jimmy. Maybe Little Jimmy could do it. It's got to be his childhood hero, hasn't it? If anyone's inducting R-Truth, it's got to be his childhood hero, John Cena. Cena's got to do it. Cena's the only one that can do it. Imagine being inducted into the Hall of Fame by your childhood hero, John Cena. That we never did enough with that. We should have done so much more with that. It's so funny, so clever. The fact that R-Truth would constantly go around saying that his childhood hero was John Cena. And he would, like, you know, wear the Cena shirts and all that kind of stuff. We could have leaned into that a hell of a lot more. All the people they called up, they don't even use or have no direction. Yeah, well, I mean, it's difficult, isn't it? I mean, I look at, like, Grayson Waller. He's, you know, fine. Indus Sher have had a video package. We have been seeing Elba and Elia. We've been seeing Caden and Katana. So I kind of feel like we're just getting started. I keep saying that to go from NXT to the main roster is such a jump. There is a period of time that you're going to need to settle in. They're going to need to find creative, and they're going to need things. Going to have to settle, and you never know what injuries of disruption has been caused there. So I kind of feel like just, you know, give him a good few months. Let's see where we are after SummerSlam, and then we'll make a better call on it. But they have been using people. We've seen Caden and Katana a few times. We've seen plenty of Grayson Waller. Stax is back in the corner. This is a business opportunity. We had a deal. I ain't no snitch. Did he say snitch or stitch? We had a deal. I think he says stitch. I'm sure he says stitch. I ain't no stitch. He must surely know it's snitch. That's what he said it twice. I ain't no stitch. I mean, maybe it's just the accent. So Joe Coffey thought there was a deal. I swear he says, I ain't no stitch. But it's so close, it could be snitch, couldn't it? Sounded like he said stitch, but probably meant snitch. Ace said, it's unfortunate day. I've had a bad day, but watching you makes me feel better. Ace, shout out to you, man. I'm sorry to hear you had a bad day. He did say snitch, says Mole Jam. Days, it's sad that only Ali, Cedric, Noam, Gulak, Cruz del Toro, Giovanni Vinci, and Tozawa are the only Cruiserweight Classic members. Such talent has been let go. Was Giovanni Vinci in the Cruiserweight Classic, was he? I didn't know that. I don't remember that. Cruiserweight Classic. I wouldn't even know what his name was. Hiratazawa. And it's been a while since I've seen some of these names. Obviously, the Brian Kendrick. Damac. Do you remember Damac? Gugula. Yeah, you're right. Fabian Eichner. I do not remember him being into Cruiserweight Classic. How did he do? Oh, here we go. Oh, eliminated first round. Got eliminated to Jack Gallagher. Oh, I haven't seen this in so long, you know. It's kind of really fun to go back and see how everyone got there. Some of these matches were incredible. Like the Cedric Alexander one when he lost to Kota Ibushi and the crowd were chanting, sign him up. Sign him up. We were doing breakdowns of this on the channel. I really miss these days, you know, where because we did this and we did like the Mae Young Classic as well, like the women's tournament. They were doing these like little ad hoc tournaments. I miss that. When was that? That was 2016. Long time ago now, isn't it? Long time ago. Tournament qualifying matches took place on independent circuit, including Rev Pro, Progress, and Evolve. Yeah, it's funny because they did do some qualifying matches, but they didn't do many. They've got here Zack Sabre beating Flash Morgan Webster. Did you know that Jack Gallagher defeated Pete Dunne to qualify? So Pete Dunne wasn't in the Cruiserweight Classic, but he would have been had he have qualified, but he lost to Jack Gallagher, and that was Progress. Noam Dar beat Josh Bodum. TJ Perkins beat Fred Yei. Drew Gulak beat Tracy Williams. Lindsay Dorado beat Romeo. And Tony Nese beat Drew Gulak, Johnny Gargano, Lindsay Dorado, TJ Perkins, to qualify. Those other ones had already qualified, though. Right, yes. Blast from the past. Okay, so Nima and Price have made their way down. Nima and Price have made their way down to the ring. They're they're confronting Gallus, making their presence felt. So he's getting up to his feet here, Stacks. Stacks still going, still competing. We got 25 minutes or so to go. We had a deal, says Joe Coffey. Joe Coffey very upset here. Shot coming in again. Shot coming in by... Oh, big shots. Coming in there by Stacks. Against the ropes. Down goes Coffey. Look underneath. Against the ropes. Drop kick. Down goes Coffey. Stacks in control. Big back body drop. Huge back body drop there by Stacks. Stacks going to the outside. Throws in a shot to Wolfgang. Gets back into the ring as Mark Coffey tries to distract. Mark Coffey is pulled into the ring. Stacks going over to the corner. Grabbing a crowbar. Stacks grabs a crowbar. Stacks nails Joe Coffey in the midsection with a crowbar. Throws the crowbar to Wolfgang just as the referee turns around. You're out of there. You're out of there. Oh. Wolfgang is thrown out. So Stacks using his smarts. Big boot there by Stacks. Stacks. Oh, like a curb stomp type move. 1, 2, 3. Stacks wins. Stacks wins. Stacks wins. Charges will be dropped. You're coming home. I never betray family. See you soon. Aww. He's so loyal. Here's Schism. Oh my god, look at all them mass people in the behind him. Schism's growing. I was kicked out of the arena, says Gacy. So, Gacy. Always room for one more. Ivy being approached. So, Schism trying to... Well, I don't know if they're trying to recruit her, but they certainly have made some gestures in her direction. Carmelo and Trick versus Finn and Damien. Carmelo, Hayes, and Trick Williams. I'm shocked that Braun was beaten, said Mr. Quake. Coffee is a punk, said Mr. Quake. All right, we're going to commercial break again. 2K23. Can we acknowledge that Mustafa Ali is one of the more successful ones still in WWE when he wasn't even supposed to be in it? He was an alternate and they kept him and he got himself over, says Kim. Adam said the last two guys were the Creed brothers. The last two guys were the Creed brothers. Creeds are still there. What do you mean? The two in the masks? Two in the masks were the Creeds. Creeds were the last two in the Schism masks, says James. I wonder if they will... I wonder if this is just part of the storyline. I wonder if this is going to be revealed. I mean, I'm thinking that they're on their way to the main roster, but maybe they're just going to reinvent themselves with a new tag team name. Something like that. Or maybe they're just keeping them around to wear the masks for a bit. I don't know. I think if you wouldn't use them just for the sake of using them. If they've just lost loser leaves, if they are on TV, I think that's got to be part of storyline. Creeds now work at McDonald's. What are your thoughts on Austin Theory's United States title reign? Bit flat in it. Not very good. Bit boring. I like Austin Theory. I think he was great in the way. But he has really just not done much. I mean, I think when he was with Vince and he was being like, he's the future and everything, there was a bit of buzz around him because at least then, you know, it was like, this is a guy they clearly believe in. And then he wins Money in the Bank and it just felt like things were happening for him. Now it's just dull. It's just boring. I mean, I think him and Sheamus, like that, I'm guessing we're going to get that match again because they did face on Friday, but there was a lot of outside interference, which just makes me think they'll probably do a one-on-one match again a bit further down the road. But yeah, I can't say it's been gripping or captivating or people are like losing their minds over Austin Theory at the moment. I like him though. I still think he's massively one for the future. I still think this is him going through his prototype stage. I think he gets there. I think he'll be a world champ. No doubt about that. I'd go as far as to say I think he main events WrestleMania, but it just doesn't feel like we're doing good stuff with him at the moment. Who should defeat Carmelo Hayes? I really like Elia doing it. This is why I'm not sure who wins at Great American Bash. It would feel a bit soon to take the title off of Carmelo, but I really like Elia getting the job done. Sonny, shout out to you. Good night. I noticed the way the last two looked. It's the Creeds in disguise, says Alex. Okay, so we just got some footage from SmackDown. Can you tell me what I have missed? Well, we've got 17 minutes to go, and then I'll do the recap video, so it'll be in there. Theory just needs a good feud or a better gimmick, said Wisp. Okay, so we've just got a little SmackDown promo thing. Asuka against Bianca. Is that this Friday? Is that this week? Yeah. Asuka against Bianca this Friday. That'd be all right. Right, this is Valentina and Yulisa. Oh, here's Los Lotharios. How about both of you join both of us for the rest of the evening? Okay, here is Dragon Lee. And Nathan Frazier. Okay. Right, Tony Homecoming next week. Got Tony Homecoming next week. Wesley and Dirty Dom. Yes! Wesley versus Dirty Dom. Let's go! That's going to be next week as well. But here is Judgment Day again. They're flipping everywhere. When I close my eyes, I hear Judgment Day's music now. What are your thoughts on Roman's title run? Good. I think he could have defended it a bit more than what he has. I think that's, been a problem. But people cheating and whatever. I mean, he's a heel. So having outside interference, you're always going to have that. But I mean, you've only got to look at the ratings. Just look at the ratings. Look at the Bloodline story. You can moan about this and that, but the numbers do the talking. So it's historic. I'm going to skip that match next week, says Real. Dominic is trash. Tim said Jobber Day are going to win because they're full of jobbers. Days, what are your... Oh, we read that one. Retribution, shout out to you, my friends. Hope you feel a bit better. Hopefully this match makes you feel better. Graham said, who should beat Roman? I've always thought Cody. Well, I say always. I wanted Sammy. Sammy's the one that I wanted, but I think now Sammy feels a little cold because of him being moved to the tag division. So I'd have to go Cody finishing the story. Judgment Day back on the same page. They are back on the same page, baby. Okay, we're working well here, Judgment Day. Working on the arm. Kick to Trick. It's Trick that's in the ring at the moment. Trick over by the ropes. I was at the historic Bricky Bowl in downtown Hobart on July 8th to see the AR-Dub Pro, N-Dub Indiana Wrestling. I saw Backbreaker Wrestling and Fire Pro Wrestling. Very cool. Okay, so Damien picking up Trick and hurling him down. Little sloppy. Just a one count. Again, looking for a headlock, keeping him grounded. Next week, we've got Gigi and Kiana as well. Gigi versus Kiana announced for next week. Headbutt coming in by Damian Priest. Trick goes over to the corner. Finn comes in. Shoulder tackles coming in there by Finn. Obviously, Dirty Dom on the outside. Rhea on the outside as well. Chop coming in there by Finn. We've got another chop coming in there by Finn. Rhea is enjoying it on the outside. Driving Trick into the corner, driving that shoulder into the midsection. And another big chop coming in by Finn. Oh, look at this. She's giggling away there. She's loving it. She is loving it. Into the corner goes Trick. Clothesline. Down goes Balor. Britt Williams going over, making a tag. In comes Carmelo. Against the ropes goes Balor. Drop kick. Balor goes down. Rolls out the ring. Big kicks to the midsection. Hayes against the ropes. lands on top of Damian Priest. Right, commercial break. Rhea looks so lovely tonight, said Retribution. Wisp, have a good night, buds. Something about the main event, said Q the Light Knight. Graham said, what champion do you think Damian Priest will cash his Money in the Bank briefcase on? Seth. I think with Finn and Seth all being around that title picture, I think for him to now go off and cash it in on Gunther, I just don't see it. I don't see why Damian Priest would be bothered about getting the Intercontinental Championship. But you know, we've said this so many times. The fact that, you know, they've said you can cash in on a mid-card title just seems stupid to me. I think, you know, when you are introduced as a Hall of Famer, maybe, right? Or you're introduced as a 3-time world champion, right? Don't really get introduced as like 5-time Intercontinental champion or something like that, unless you never became a world champ, right? If you weren't a world champ, then you get introduced as an Intercontinental champ, or you get introduced as a United States champ, or whatever it might be. But we know that like one of the biggest achievements is how many times you've been champ. We know that like Ric Flair's 16-time world championship title reign, which John Cena has tied, that is seen as like one of the pinnacles. Like, who's going to beat that? That's one of the big records that needs to be beaten and will be beaten one day. Who's going to beat it? And like, you know, being a world champion is obviously a massive, massive deal. And that's, you know, you're a former world champion. Everyone wants to be a world champion. Being Intercontinental champion is so far below that. And being United States champion is so far below that. Just, it doesn't make sense why you would cash in that Money in the Bank on a mid-card title. It does. I cannot get my head around it. And so, like, I just don't get it. If Damian Priest does that, I'll think he's an idiot. Just like how I thought Austin Theory was an idiot. And actually, I would argue that Austin Theory has only continued to go downhill ever since he did cash in for that mid-card title. Things ain't got better for him. So yeah, I will lose respect for Damian Priest if he does cash in on a mid-card belt. So it's got to be Seth. It can't be Roman. Can't be Roman, because you're not going to end Roman's title reign that way. So it's got to be Seth. But no, in WWE, it'll be Gunther or something. Quick tags here by Judgment Day. So 7 minutes, of course, got the over run as well. Judgment Days, Damian Priest and Finn Balor against Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. Dom could win and then triple threat, so Dom can promote Great American Bash on Raw, says Bembo, ? I don't think so. I mean, could you do a triple threat? You could. It's what you've said is perfectly acceptable. There's nothing wrong with that. I just don't think it goes that way. I don't think you would take the belt off of Wes to put it onto Dom, who's only going to have it for a very, very short time. Because Dom ain't going to travel from Raw to NXT every week. So, unless Dom's going to stay in NXT for a little while, which I don't think he is, I don't think we're putting the belt on him. He could carry it till Great American Bash, and then maybe Wes wins it back to become a 2-time champ. Or maybe you put it on Mustafa Ali, and that's how you get it from Dom to Mustafa Ali. And then Wes can try and win it back, maybe, but don't know. Or I don't know. I mean, they are trying to make the shows bigger. You make a great point. They are trying to make the shows bigger. I certainly don't think that's a bad shout at all. But I'm just questioning, is that what I think they're going to do? And I'm just leaning towards no. I'm leaning towards no. But it's a very good shout. They could do it. Crowd chanting away. Carmen live. I'm glad you had a good time, dudes. The Beach Kevin said we need Priest against LA Knights. Okay, inverted atomic drop there by Carmelo Hayes. I do struggle with these tag main events. Like this just, I mean, what does this match mean? It's the same problem as last night on Raw. What does this mean? I am struggling to like get into this match because who cares? If Judgment Day wins, who cares? If Carmelo wins, who cares? Like, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't matter. Drop kick by Carmelo. Finn stepping to the outsides. Climbing up. Balor looking for a coup de grace. Can't connect with it. Against the ropes. Nice springboard move there by Carmelo. It could be argued at the time of Theory's cash-in, the United States Championship was the main title on Raw, says Jim. Do you think you could take LA Knight, says Q, the light knight? No. Kick out by Damien. Choke slam, no. Reversed up. Looking for a stunner there by Carmelo. Damien against the ropes. Big kick by Damien. Damien planting Carmelo. Carmelo goes down. 1, 2, and save by Trick. Trick makes the save. Nathan Frazier against Dragon Lee. Oh, Nathan Frazier and Dragon Lee taking on Los Lotharios next week. Damian Priest. Oh, hurling Trick Williams into the commentary table. Gets into the ring, gets super kicked there by Carmelo. Hayes back in the corner. Climbing up. Nails Dirty Dom. Big shot there by Damien. Round the houses. Down goes Damien. Dirty Dom on the outside. Trick Williams still down that commentary table. Didn't buckle. Dirty Dom with a chair. Referee stopping him. Dirty Dom trying to get in again. Referee again stopping him. Briefcase is thrown in the ring by Rhea. Damien looking to use the briefcase. Here's Elia Dragunov. And Carmelo accidentally knocks into Dragunov. This might be the beginning of the end now for Carmelo. Coup de grace connects. Coup de grace connects. 1, 2, 3. So, Judgment Day win. The Judgment Day. Judgment Day pick up the win. So Elia tried to stop Damien using the Money in the Bank briefcase. But instead, Hayes collided with Elia and that briefcase, and it eventually led to a victory for the Judgment Day. So that's going to plant a few seeds of dissension between these two future opponents. Damien looks like Prince Confused, said EST. That was idiotic, says Jadam. Not good luck having your NXT champ lose on his own show, said Real. Dragunov's trying to talk to Carmelo. God, don't worry about it. I'm Dragunov. I wouldn't care. But I tried to help you out, douche. Wow, it's ended, and it's ended early as well. Getting your final thoughts, final scores then. What did you think about NXT this week? It's ended, and it's ended early. Judgment Day win. I give it 2 out of 5. This match could have been better. He wouldn't be dumb enough to cash in now, said Shovel. What happened to Mustache Mountain? Well, Trent's 7 was let go. So it's only Tyler Bate that's left now. Steven, shout out to you. Judgment Day are very good heels, but they cheat too much, don't they? Yes. Lots of cheating. Predictable. Daze just called someone a douche. Yes. It's my go-to. Brian said 6.6. Jordan said 2. EST said 2 out of 5. 675 says Kappa. Mellow and Trick should have won. 1.5 said Mr. Quake. I do agree this was not the most exciting of shows. The only douche that's here is the one that's kvetching for Lars. What is that a word? Kvetching. Kvetching. Is that a word or is that just a typo? 6.6 says Jay. 6 said Joe. The Viagra advert is funny. The one in the UK. I haven't seen it. Nicole said, guys, NXT didn't overrun. The sky is falling. WWE AEW fans had to give it 6.5. Anthony said 10 stars. K-pop lover says 2. Dagmawi with 5. Jeff said there's just too much Judgment Day between Raw and NXT. Final score is a 6. EST said this wasn't the best show. Moljam said I'm giving it a 6. Real said Elia versus Braun and Tiff versus Ivy were the only good matches. Shakim said 7. Mr. Quake said Triple H is insulting our intelligence. Trini said 6.5. Travis said 7. No overrun. No overrun. William said that word sounds amazing. Keaton said, I think Ricochet should be pushed to the moon. He's one of the best in-ring. What do you think? I think in-ring he is exciting, but I think he is a little flat on the microphone. I also think that he doesn't have the best of looks. I would, if I was trying to do something with him, I would take a lot of inspiration from when he was Prince Puma in Lucha Underground. Because I actually thought that was quite interesting. I loved the Prince Puma name. He had a mask as well, which looked kind of cool. I do think that full face masks are a problem because then you can't see people's facial expressions. You can't see the selling. You can't see when they're hurt. I think it really takes a lot away from a performer if it's a full face mask. So I would give him some sort of mask, but still a bit like Ray, where you can still see like the mouth. You can still see plenty of expression. I would look to do something like that with Ricochet. And I don't know. I think the mic thing's a problem. That's a problem. Because if he was more charismatic, I think that he would get even further. He's great in ring though. You're not wrong with that. But it's like, I think there is a glass ceiling there. I think there is a glass ceiling. I mean, if you look at, say, LA Knight and look at, like, his mic work and his catchphrases and the reactions that he's getting, and then compare it to Ricochet, who's been on TV a hell of a lot longer and not got reactions anywhere near that. It just shows, like, even though he's cool and does cool moves in the ring, it hasn't grabbed people's attention the way that LA Knight has. And that's the power of good mic skills. That's how important good mic skills are, and that is definitely the area that he's lacking. So I can't say I'd be pushing him to the moon. I would be pushing to tweak his character a bit, and I'd be trying to figure out how I can improve his mic work. 5 years from now, do you think Raw does 1.5, 1.8, or will we see 1.2, 1.3? Don't know. No way of knowing, is there? I mean, TV seems to be declining. At some point, it might flatline. At some point, it might just reach a level where it just levels out. That was always the talk with CD sales. When I used to work in an entertainment store, they would constantly show us graphs of CD sales on the decline, DVD sales on the decline. But they would always say this is the year that industry experts predict that it's going to level out. And if it does level out, you know, we just need to try and grow our T-shirt sales, our video game sales to try and counter that. And then, you know, you're going to be all good again. And actually, vinyl ended up coming along, believe it or not. Vinyl came along. So, and that is what kind of steadied the ship, I believe. I don't work there now, of course, so I'm not privy to that information anymore. But, you know, I think in 5 to 10 years, will we even be talking about those kind of ratings? Will we even have access to those ratings? Because in 5 to 10 years, will it even be on TV? Or will it be on a streaming platform where maybe that data is not put out there? Like, I don't know how many people have watched Squid Game compared to how many people have watched The Crown, compared to how many people have watched, you know, I don't know, whatever else is on Netflix. I don't know that data's out there. I mean, they could go to Netflix and all of a sudden their ratings could be 2 million an episode. I mean, it could just completely change the game, couldn't it? It could be putting them in front of a lot more eyes. So it's impossible to sit here and predict what rating's going to be because we don't even know where WWE are going to be. Right. 6 overly excited Booker T's, said Smurfy Toons. WWE to Disney, says K-pop. James said streaming services have killed TV. Days besides Griffith, Porter, and Lowell in Backbreaker Wrestling used the Indiana Beach Ballroom in youth baseball fields. Okay. Are you just saying the places that these companies operate in? Because they don't mean anything to anyone else. Like, I don't know what these places are, to be honest. So I can't say that I'm impressed with that because I can't picture the size of it. Like, if you used to tell me that Backbreaker Wrestling was in a venue that held 5,000 people and it was rammed, I'd be like, wow, that's amazing. Like, that there's a company out there that's getting that kind of crowd. But these venues, they're not venues that I'm aware of, so I don't know. I can't react. I can't give you my thoughts on that. WWE will need a medical facility for ratings soon, said EST. I'm giving the show 6.9, says Kieran. I would be in the chat joking about, says William. The internet is killed TV, says Jim. What are your thoughts on Kevin Patrick on commentary? Not a big fan. Don't rate him. I don't find him interesting, intriguing. I don't find when he gets enthused, him to be pleasurable to listen to. I think they've struggled with commentators for quite a long time. I like Wade Barrett. I don't love Wade Barrett. I don't think Wade Barrett is the greatest thing, but I think he's a massive improvement on Pat. I think that Michael Cole is disrespected. I think he is brilliant at what he does. I think Corey Graves also is underrated. I think people can blame those because of what Vince wants them to say in their ear. Don't hear as much criticism for Corey and Michael actually since Triple H took over, to be honest. And maybe there's a link there. But I would say Kevin Patrick is, not good at all. It doesn't feel like the natural fit for him. It doesn't feel like the natural home for him. Doesn't feel like that's what he should be doing. So I would definitely look to go in a different direction. I'm not saying get rid of him altogether. I'm certainly not saying let's fire him, but you know, could he be the host of the kickoff panel? Right? Could he do something like that? Could he be on the bump? You know, there's definitely places I'm sure we could use him. Daze, WWF letting Nigel McGuinness go. I really like Nigel McGuinness. I've always said, like, with a commentator, I think when those moments happen and you are having to get enthused and, you know, like really add extra excitement to that moment, like what do you bring in that moment? We know that JR was goated in those moments, you know, good God almighty, he's got a family, damn it, you know, that kind of stuff. He would add to those moments. Michael Cole massively adds to those moments. You know, we've seen, they've shown recaps of like Michael Cole freaking out when Liv was cashing in. Or the Usos, you know, the 1D. No one's ever kicked out of the 1D. And it's all like really hyped. I think he does a really good job. But yeah, I don't buy Kevin Phillips when he gets enthused. Kevin Patrick, sorry, I just don't buy it. So yeah, I'm sure we can find something else for him to do, but commentary's not it. I would like to get a female voice on there. I really would. I think that like Beth Phoenix was someone I really enjoyed. Thought she always did a good job. Nigel McGuinness is a great shout. Really rate him. Kevin Kelly, I think, is awesome. I think he's awesome. Could you imagine if you had Michael Cole on SmackDown and Kevin Kelly on Raw as the lead announcer? Why we were never able to get him for WWE, I have no idea. But Kevin Kelly as the lead on Raw, Michael Cole as the lead on SmackDown, Wade Barrett as Color on SmackDown, Corey Graves as Color on Raw feels like a decent foundation. I feel like that's pretty good. I feel like you could probably make the argument that you could find a better Color than Wade. But I think he's pretty good. I don't mind him. He's got a good deep tone to his voice as well. I always think if you're doing commentary, you should have an interesting tone to your voice. You know, it's a bit like when you get those voiceover guys that do voiceovers. I do think that commentary is a very specific role that, you know, you should have something about your voice in order to do that. And when you get enthused, you should really add to the moments. And then, of course, even when it's quiet, you should be able to provide tell the story and really add to the moments. This is where Tony Schiavone falls down with his, wow, this is great. We are really seeing something special here. It's just nothing. And he doesn't add anything. Tony's awful on AEW. So yeah, I think there's some good commentators. I think there's some not so good commentators at the moment, but Kevin Patrick could be upgraded. Todd Pettingale and Kevin Kelly would be the dream team, says Wrestle with Andy. Let's go. Todd Pettingale, the man, the legend. Need to bring back Sean Mooney. That's what we need. Right, I'm going to have to start working on this little recap video. Appreciate the support. Not the best of shows tonight. You know, we talk a lot about how NXT is great at the moment. This isn't the episode I would be showing people, to be honest, to tell them that things are great. So, yeah, maybe not the strongest, but, you know, it was what it was. We move on. I'm sure that SmackDown is going to be a lot of fun. We're back for AEW tomorrow as well, of course. But, yeah, have a great evening wherever you are, and I will see you again.